Hey, I'm so excited to have Rachel E. Cooke with us today. And I'm even more excited, if that's possible, about our partnership with One Community and the upcoming film NONNAS. So, Rachel, I'm going to let you take us through all the exciting work that's happening with the film and the Impact campaign. And starting off, want to give us a quick intro?
Yes, so I'm Rachel. I'm the Vice President of Impact at One Community. We are a TV and film co-finance and production company. And what makes us special is all of our projects are connected to a social justice issue. Our first film was Just Mercy, and that campaign and that film was all about certainly Brian Stevenson's story, but also about criminal justice reform and prison reform. Our second film was the Aretha Franklin biopic Respect, starring Jennifer Hudson. We created an impact campaign that was all about getting young girls of color to see themselves inside the music industry, not just behind the microphone, but behind the engineering booth, as accountants, as attorneys, as leaders in the field. And then our upcoming film, NONNAS, which will be on Netflix soon, is very exciting. We're absolutely thrilled about it.
Well, as I said, we are thrilled too, because we're all about impact, and goodness knows now more than ever, we need to build community. And that's what Nona's is really focusing on. Can you tell me a little bit more about the genesis of Nona's and the campaign that is so wonderful that goes along with it?
Yes, so we're really lucky. The story of Nona's is based on a true story. There's an actual restaurant in Staten Island called Inateca Maria, started by an amazing guy named Joe, who, as a love letter to his mom, his grandparents, and the other matriarchs of his life, he created a restaurant that's staffed or the chefs are all Nonas. And today it covers Nonas across the world. But the story really takes place of our film, of the beginning of the restaurant and the impetus of all of that. And it is such a heartwarming content. It feels like a big bowl of your favorite sort of spaghetti and meatballs. It makes you sort of tear up a little bit in joy and memory, but it absolutely makes you feel loved and seen.
It absolutely gives me chills because when we first met and started talking about this, I mean, I grew up with my Nonna living upstairs and making pasta with her. So this story from the get-go has just hit me, in my soul.
Yeah.
And one of the coolest things is about relationship building. I mean, across generations, across racial divides. Tell me a little about what you have in mind with stories from the table with this crossing of barriers.
Yeah. You know, we are also just so fortunate to have such an amazing script by Liz Macy. The film is directed by her husband, Stephen Chbosky, who wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower. He directed Wonder. And I mention that because this movie is absolutely made with love. And the themes that we're able to pull on it as a result of just really true, genuine hearts working together. The cast is amazing. Vince Vaughn, Joe Manganiello, Lorraine Bracco, Brenda Vaccaro, Suzanne Sarandon. It's just such an amazing cast. And so to bring this film so that it reaches more people and sort of extends its reach, that's my job. And it was such an easy job for this project. And so for this film, there are absolutely the themes of intergenerational community building, understanding that right now, the youngest of us, sort of that Gen Z, Gen Alpha audience, and that boomer audience are feeling very similar levels of social isolation and grief. How is it that we can use this film as a vehicle to bring those two generations together, especially since that loneliness has an impact about smoking 15 cigarettes a day, right? So it's not just people are feeling sad, but people are actually having negative determinants of their health because of that loneliness. The other thing that we're focusing on this campaign is what does it mean to age well? I think especially here in the United States, the conversation around aging is usually around like how robust is your 401k or talking about sort of negative aspects of aging, whether we're talking focusing on dementia or Alzheimer's, which are absolutely important conversations to have. But we wanted to also take a moment to celebrate aging If we're lucky, we all get to age. What does that look like today? What does it mean to find purpose in the fourth quarter of your life when your life looks different, but you still have 20, 30 years left and you still have so much drive and ambition and things that you want to give back to the world? And then that third beat of the campaign that we're focusing on is how do we have a conversation around the culture and heritage that food brings from our immigrant communities, right? This film very much is firmly rooted in a very Italian American experience. And that story of immigration to the United States is is epic and has so many tendrils of how we sort of talk and refer to immigrants today. But when we're also sort of looking at present day, so many of our favorite foods, our favorite restaurants, whether you're in LA or in New York, or whether you're in Chicago, Mississippi, Atlanta, anywhere in the world, so much of our communities and that food history has been enriched by the immigrants who've come to this country. How do we have a conversation that reminds us of that culture and that dignity and that heritage so that when we do have conversations around immigration, that they are more humane, that they are more dignified and civilized?
Absolutely. And there's nothing more common than the love of food. And regardless of what side of the aisle you choose to be on, my goodness, we all love to share a meal.
I
And
certainly do.
this is just a great way to kick off. And as you know, with Plus Media, we're all about taking that inspiration from the audience and moving it into action. And you've got an amazing rollout and plan over the next several months.
Yeah.
So give us a taste of what's to come.
You know, having a film on Netflix gives us such a blue sky opportunity, right? We have this movie that's going to be on a global platform that's going to be seen in millions of screens around the world. And so we wanted to create a campaign, quite frankly, that sort of met the ambition of the reach itself. And so the Netflix team will be focusing on sort of that first release window, but what we bring as one community is an extension of that marketing campaign to really bring as many people into those conversations as we can. So our campaign has, semi-officially kicked off right now and will run all the way through September to Grandparents' Day. That will be sort of the capstone of our campaign. So in that 6 months, we have a lot of amazing things planned. Some things that are in person. We're planning a community screening in Staten Island. We're hopefully doing a large storytelling event with our partners Caring Across Generations and the Annenberg Center. We're planning a food truck tour to help really bring in those immigration themes to life. But we're also doing things virtually. We're doing virtual watch parties so no one watches this film alone, and creating amazing discussion guides with our partners at Generations United and Co-Generate and the Grandmother Collective. We're creating grandma trading cards so people can see the culturally diverse grandmas that we really want to elevate and sort of talk about. We have an AI tool as part of this website that we're building with you all that will allow people to ask questions and sort of get those prompts of, how do I ask my grandma about her story, right? Or what questions should I be thinking about as I get older? Or even questions around, you know, what does sort of grief what does it do to the body? How do I help a friend who's having a hard time right now? And I think all of those resources, both joyful and practical, is just a perfect alchemy of creating real narrative and social change.
I couldn't agree more. And we are so honored to be the connector of this campaign and to activate people and to measure what's actually resonating with viewers. Because as we've talked about often, it's overlooked sometimes and people get lost in likes and shares and impressions. But when you can really know what people are thinking and feeling and doing um, after they've been inspired by your content, wow, that's a game changer. So we're
Absolutely.
encouraging everyone to see the film, go to the Impact Hub, use our AI tool, have your discussion, get your questions answered, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the movies. Thanks
Love
so
that.
much, Rachel.
Of course. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Take good care.
Bye.